Airports look simple on the surface. You arrive, check in, go through security, wait at your gate, and board your flight. But anyone who travels even a few times quickly realizes that airports are full of hidden rules, small details, and easy-to-miss mistakes that can completely change your travel experience. A single wrong move can cost you time, money, comfort, or even your entire flight. And the truth is, airlines and airports won't warn you about most of these things, because the chaos you deal with often works in their favor. That's why in today's video, we're breaking down the 10 pre-flight airport mistakes you wish you knew sooner, the things experienced travelers already avoid, but first-time or even regular flyers keep repeating without realizing the consequences. These aren't dramatic mistakes. They're subtle, everyday habits that seem harmless, but actually create major problems. Whether it's about timing, security, check-in, baggage rules, gate behavior, or simple pre-flight routines, each of these mistakes can cost you precious minutes or unnecessary stress. And once you understand how airports actually operate behind the scenes, you'll see why avoiding these mistakes makes your entire journey smoother. Before we dive in, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more honest travel tips airlines never mention, and share this with someone who flies often. A small change in knowledge can completely transform the way they move through the airport. So, if you want a calmer, cleaner, more efficient, and more predictable travel experience from the moment you enter the airport, these are the mistakes you cannot afford to ignore. Let's get started. 1. Arriving too late, thinking your airline will wait. Most people believe that arriving at the airport just on time is enough. They assume that as long as they make it to the airline counter before the check-in desk closes, or as long as they sprint toward security with their boarding pass in hand, everything will somehow work out. But this is one of the biggest and most painful pre-flight mistakes travelers make. Airlines do not wait. They do not bend rules, and they don't care how close you are if you miss cutoff times by just a few minutes. The airport system is designed around strict timing. Once deadlines pass, even if you're standing there with your passport and luggage, staff can't help you. And contrary to what some believe, airlines don't want to delay flights for late passengers. They want to keep everything moving so they avoid paying extra. Arriving late also creates a chain reaction of stress you cannot recover from. You rush through baggage check, you panic at security, you get frustrated with lines, and even if you make the flight, your body is already tired and overwhelmed. Meanwhile, seasoned travelers arrive early, not because they enjoy waiting around, but because they understand that airports function best when you move through them slowly and predictably. Having extra time protects you from unexpected traffic, long check-in lines, broken kiosks, slow security officers, or a surprise secondary screening that could easily delay you by 20 minutes. It also allows you to organize your belongings, use the restroom, refill water, find your gate, prepare your documents, and board your flight calmly instead of rushing with your heart pounding. Another problem with arriving late is that airlines often overbook flights. If you show up close to departure time, your seat is at risk of being reassigned to someone already on standby. This is something airlines don't warn you about. Your lateness actually makes their job easier because it gives them permission to give your seat away without compensation. And even if your seat is safe, arriving late leaves no time to fix mistakes like a wrong date on your ticket, a bag that's slightly overweight, or a document the airline wants to verify before letting you board. The solution is simple. Arrive early enough to eliminate pressure from every step of the process. It prevents the domino effect of stress, protects you from losing your seat, and gives you control over your entire airport journey. Arriving late might seem harmless until the day it ruins your trip, but arriving early is a habit seasoned travelers swear by for a reason. 2. Ignoring online check-in and relying only on the airport. Many travelers still make the mistake of ignoring online check-in, thinking it's unnecessary or assuming they'll just handle everything at the airport. But skipping online check-in is one of the fastest ways to create problems before your flight even begins. Airlines push online check-in not just for convenience, but because it reduces the workload at the airport and protects passengers from delays. When you check in online, you pre-confirm your identity, secure your seat, and lock in your reservation. When you skip it, you leave everything until the last moment, and that unpredictability often works against you. The first risk is seat loss. On busy flights, especially those that are oversold, checking in late increases your chances of getting bumped or separated from your group. Airlines prioritize passengers who confirm their attendance early. If seats become limited, those who didn't check in online are often the first to be reassigned. Another problem is that online check-in also alerts you to travel requirements you might have missed, such as passport validity rules, forms you need to complete, or baggage limits you might have forgotten. If anything is wrong with your booking, online check-in usually catches it. If you wait until the airport to find out, there might not be enough time to fix the issue. Skipping online check-in also forces you into the longest line at the airport, the baggage drop or check-in line. Even if you have no checked luggage, Some airports still make you queue to print boarding passes, wasting valuable time you could have used to get ahead of the crowds at security. When you check in online, you bypass most of those lines entirely and go straight to security with a digital boarding pass ready to scan. Not only is this faster, but it also reduces the chance of missing your flight because of slow-moving queues. Online check-in also helps you avoid last-minute seat changes. If the airline switches aircraft or updates the seating chart, passengers who checked in online get notified immediately. Those who didn't might show up at the airport only to discover their preferred seat is gone. And in rare cases, when flights are disrupted or delayed, online check-in makes rebooking much faster because the airline already has your details confirmed in the system. The truth is simple. Failing to check in online removes every advantage modern travelers have. It puts more pressure on your airport experience, limits your seat options, and makes you vulnerable to delays you could have prevented. Checking in early is a small action with a huge impact, and skipping it is one mistake smart travelers never make. 3. Packing liquids incorrectly and getting delayed at security. One of the most frustrating and time-consuming mistakes travelers make at the airport is packing their liquids incorrectly. It sounds like a small thing, just a few bottles of lotion, shampoo, or perfume, and yet this simple error causes massive delays, bag searches, stress, and sometimes even the confiscation of expensive products. Even in 2026, despite newer scanning technologies rolling out in some airports, the liquid rules still apply in most places around the world. Each container must be 100 milliliters or less. All liquids must fit inside a single clear bag, and that bag must be placed separately in the security tray. But here's the issue. Most passengers don't actually prepare this bag ahead of time. Instead, they toss liquids loosely into their carry-on, hoping security won't notice. They always notice. The moment a security officer spots a large bottle or a liquid item buried under clothing or electronics, your bag gets pulled aside. And once your bag goes into the secondary screening pile, you're at the mercy of the airport's pace. 10 minutes can become 20, 20 can become 40, and if you're flying during peak hours, dozens of travelers might already be ahead of you. Suddenly, your comfortable timeline becomes a stressful race to the gate, all because of a simple packing mistake. Many travelers also forget items like toothpaste, face creams, gels, hair products, or even food that counts as liquid, such as yogurt or hummus. Security doesn't care if the container is nearly empty. If it exceeds the limit, it will be taken away. Another common problem is overstuffing the liquid bag. Even if all your bottles are under the size limit, security officers can tell when the bag is crammed or doesn't close properly. An overfilled bag will be flagged, pulled out, and inspected by hand. The same applies if you forget to remove it entirely and leave it buried deep in your backpack. You'll watch your bag go through the scanner, only for the agent to stop everything and call for a manual search. The process always takes longer than people expect. Preparing properly is simple. Sort your liquids at home, put them in a clear zippered pouch, and keep that pouch at the top of your carry-on so you can grab it instantly when approaching security. Some experienced travelers even place the bag in an outer pocket, making the process frictionless. The difference between being prepared and being sloppy is the difference between walking straight through security or standing in line anxiously watching the clock. Packing liquids correctly doesn't just save time, it reduces stress, avoids embarrassment, and protects your expensive items from being thrown away. It's a tiny step with enormous impact on your entire airport experience. 4. Wearing the wrong clothes and causing avoidable stress at security. Most people don't think about their clothing when preparing to fly, but what you wear can dramatically affect how smoothly you move through the airport, especially at security. Wearing the wrong outfit can slow you down, trigger manual checks, cause discomfort, and make the entire pre-flight process more stressful than it needs to be. The biggest problem is metal. Metal buckles, large jewelry, chunky belts, steel-toed shoes, and heavy accessories almost always trigger alarms. Each time the detector beeps, you're pulled aside for a pat-down, an additional scan, or an inspection that eats up precious minutes. These delays add up quickly, especially when the terminal is busy or when staff is short-handed. Another issue is complicated clothing. Boots that take forever to remove, jackets with multiple zippers, tight pockets full of items, and pants that require belts all make security more difficult. The more pieces you have to take off, empty, or reorganize, the longer you stand there scrambling while everyone else waits. And if you're rushing or feeling pressured, it's easy to misplace something. Phones, wallets, headphones, or boarding passes commonly get lost during chaotic security moments. Loose clothing, simple layers, and slip-on shoes are the secret weapons of experienced flyers. They move quickly because they dress for the process, not the destination. Temperature is another factor. Airports can be unpredictable, freezing at check-in and boiling at the gate. Wearing the wrong materials makes you uncomfortable long before you reach your seat. Heavy fabrics make you sweat, which becomes worse when you stand in long lines. Underdressing leaves you shivering in over-air-conditioned terminals. Because of this, seasoned travelers rely on lightweight layers. A breathable shirt, a flexible jacket, and comfortable shoes make the process smoother and keep your bag organized, because you're not constantly removing items and stuffing them into your carry-on. Pockets matter more than people think. Overstuffed pockets will always slow you down at security. You end up dumping everything: coins, receipts, AirPods, keys, chapsticks, into the trays. When the trays return, you rush to grab your belongings while other passengers push behind you. This is how items get left behind or knocked onto the floor. Wearing something with 1 or 2 easy access pockets, or a jacket with a single interior pocket for essential documents, keeps everything organized. The truth is simple. The clothes you wear determine how smooth or stressful your pre-flight experience is. When you dress for convenience instead of fashion, the airport becomes easier, faster, and far less overwhelming. This one change can shave 10 minutes off your security time, reduce your stress, and help you start your journey feeling calm and in control. 5. Not weighing your bags before arriving at the airport. One of the most avoidable yet extremely common airport mistakes is showing up without knowing the exact weight of your luggage. Many travelers assume their bags should be fine because they've packed similar amounts before. Or they trust their judgment by lifting the suitcase at home and guessing. But guessing is the fastest way to get hit with surprise overweight fees, forced repacking at the counter, or, worst of all, being told you must remove items or pay a high penalty before you can check in. Airlines are strict because baggage limits aren't just customer rules. They're tied to aircraft safety and weight distribution. And the fee structures are intentionally harsh because overweight baggage brings in millions for airlines every year. When you arrive unprepared, you become an easy target for these charges. The biggest issue is timing. If you discover your bag is overweight at home, you can calmly redistribute items, switch to a larger suitcase, or shift heavier objects into your carry-on. But if you discover the problem at the airport check-in desk, you have no privacy, no comfort, and no time. You're forced to open your bag in front of strangers, scramble to move items around, and hope security will allow the extra weight in your carry-on. And if you're already running late, this delay might push you past the cutoff time. Staff will not wait while you reorganize. Once the line continues and the deadline passes, you might be denied boarding even if you're physically standing there. Another problem is assuming that airline scales are inaccurate or forgiving. They aren't. Their scales are calibrated regularly and often read heavier than home scales, which means even a slight difference can push your bag into the overweight category. A suitcase that weighs 24.9 kilograms on your bathroom scale can easily display 25.5 kilograms at the airport. A half kilogram might not feel like much, but it can cost you anywhere from $50 to $150 depending on the airline and route. Weighing your bag at home, using a handheld luggage scale or a digital home scale, takes less than a minute and eliminates this risk completely. Also, many travelers forget that items like shoes, chargers, souvenirs, and toiletry bags add up quickly. People tend to underestimate how heavy everyday objects actually are. A single pair of jeans weighs more than most travelers expect. A power bank or a pair of sneakers can tip the scale. And because stress rises the closer you get to your flight, you're more likely to make rushed decisions if baggage issues appear unexpectedly. Weighing your luggage early is a simple habit, but it prevents embarrassment, saves money, and ensures that your airport experience remains smooth and predictable. It is one of the easiest ways to avoid unnecessary airport drama, yet many travelers still skip it, only to regret it moments later. 6. Not preparing for security screening and slowing down the entire line. Every traveler passes through security, yet it remains one of the most stressful steps simply because people arrive unprepared. Not having your documents ready, forgetting items in your pockets, wearing metal-heavy clothing, leaving electronics buried in your bag, or carrying restricted items. All of these slow down the entire line and almost guarantee you'll be pulled aside. Most travelers think security officers are strict because they want to make the process difficult, but in reality, slow passengers create most of the delays. When you approach security unprepared, you cause a ripple effect that affects everyone behind you. And in 2026, even though some airports are adopting faster scanners, the majority still require the old method, removing laptops, liquids, jackets, belts, and anything that might trigger the machine. The first mistake is waiting until the last second to empty your pockets. Loose change, tissues, gum, phones, earbuds, receipts, or keys. These are the items most likely to cause issues. People often forget something small. The machine beeps, and then they step aside while officers manually check them. This process takes 2 to 3 minutes, but multiplied across hundreds of travelers, it creates long lines. Preparing ahead of time is effortless. Empty your pockets before you reach the front. Place everything into a small pouch or directly into your bag, and walk through smoothly without stopping. The next mistake is forgetting large electronics. Even though newer scanners exist, the rule still applies in most airports worldwide. Laptops and tablets must be removed. Travelers who pack tightly often get flustered trying to dig out their devices, while others wait impatiently. Experienced flyers always place their laptop in an outer pocket or accessible sleeve before leaving home. That way, they can pull it out within seconds. Another issue is not separating liquids. When people toss a liquid bag in the middle of their suitcase, security screens the bag, sees unidentified containers, and pulls the luggage for manual inspection. This is one of the slowest processes and one of the easiest to avoid. Preparing your liquids ahead of time, visible, organized, and within reach, makes security officers more cooperative and speeds everything up. Finally, travelers underestimate how much smoother security becomes with simple habits: slip-on shoes, minimal jewelry, easy layers, and knowing what needs to be removed. When you prepare properly, you don't rush, panic, or scramble. You move confidently through each step, and that energy influences the entire experience. Security screening doesn't have to be stressful. When you approach it like an experienced traveler, it becomes quick, predictable, and efficient. 7. Forgetting to check terminal and gate changes before leaving home. One of the most overlooked airport mistakes is assuming your terminal and gate are the same as when you booked your ticket. Travelers check their email confirmation once, see the departure terminal printed on it, and trust that nothing will change. But in reality, terminals and gates shift constantly, sometimes days before departure, sometimes just hours before, and sometimes multiple times in the same day. Airlines may silently adjust flights due to staffing, aircraft swaps, maintenance issues, or crowd control. And while they technically notify passengers, those notifications often arrive late, go to spam, or simply don't appear at all. Many travelers find out the hard way when they reach the wrong terminal, only to realize they must sprint across the airport to make it in time. A terminal change can add anywhere from 10 to 40 minutes to your journey depending on the size of the airport. Large hubs like JFK, LAX, Heathrow, or Dubai often require shuttle buses or trams between terminals. If you discover this too late, the stress begins immediately. You start rushing, you skip essential steps like using the restroom or eating, and you arrive at check-in frazzled. And if you're already close to the cutoff time, a terminal change can easily cause you to miss the flight altogether. Airlines rarely show sympathy for this because from their perspective, they gave the information online, even if they didn't notify you directly. Gate changes are just as dangerous. Many travelers go straight to the gate number printed on their boarding pass without checking the screens inside the terminal. But boarding passes are printed long before final decisions are made. A gate that says C19 at 6 a.m. might switch to C8 by 7:30, and then move to C25 20 minutes before boarding. This happens often because airlines reposition aircraft, reassign staff, or adjust the flow of passengers to avoid congestion. Those who don't monitor these updates can easily end up sitting at the wrong gate, unaware their flight is boarding elsewhere. Announcements inside airports are frequently unclear, drowned out by noise, or made only in one language. Checking your gate and terminal at home, before leaving, and once again upon arrival, is one of the smartest habits frequent travelers follow. It takes seconds, but prevents so many headaches. Apps from airlines, airport websites, or even flight tracking apps update far more reliably than email notifications. Experienced travelers also double-check the information before passing through security to ensure they're heading toward the correct concourse. Forgetting this step may seem harmless, but it's one of the easiest ways to create unnecessary panic, delay your journey, or even miss your flight entirely. 8. Using the wrong airport lines and wasting valuable time. Another everyday airport mistake that causes huge delays is choosing the wrong line, whether at check-in, security, immigration, or the boarding gate. Airports are designed with multiple lanes for different purposes, but many passengers ignore the signs, assume all lines are the same, or simply follow the crowd without paying attention. This one mistake can cost you 20 to 50 minutes of your time, sometimes more. And what's worse is that travelers often complain about long lines, when in reality, they accidentally chose the slowest one because they didn't understand the difference. The first place this happens is at check-in. Many passengers join the longest, most obvious queue, not realizing that their airline may have separate lines for online check-in, bag drop only, business class, or premium economy passengers. Some airlines allow any economy traveler to use the bag drop line if they checked in online, but because people don't read the signs, they wait far longer than necessary. Standing in the wrong line is not only frustrating, it increases your chance of hitting check-in cutoff times, which airlines enforce strictly. A faster line is often just a few meters away, but most people never notice. Security is where this mistake becomes even more costly. Airports usually divide lanes into general screening, family or special assistance lanes, and sometimes fast-track lanes tied to certain credit cards, memberships, or upgraded tickets. Many travelers qualify for faster screening without realizing it. Some credit cards automatically grant priority security. Some airlines include it with certain fare types, and some airports allow passengers with tight connections to use expedited lines, but only if they ask. Instead, most people follow the flow without questioning, ending up behind families unpacking strollers, travelers removing multiple layers, or inexperienced flyers who slow down the process. Simply choosing the correct lane can shave 10 minutes off your journey instantly. Even at the boarding gate, travelers make the same mistake. They stand in the wrong boarding group, crowd the entrance unnecessarily, or join the first line they see. This creates congestion, delays the process, and frustrates everyone. Experienced travelers wait until their group is called, position themselves strategically, and board efficiently without blocking others. Paying attention to signs, asking staff when unsure, and knowing your eligibility for priority lines are small actions that make a huge difference. Choosing the wrong line isn't just a minor inconvenience, it's one of the biggest hidden time wasters at airports, and avoiding it can transform your entire pre-flight experience. No matter how experienced you are as a traveler, airports have a way of exposing the small mistakes we overlook. And the truth is, most of the stress people feel before a flight isn't because airports are chaotic. It's because they walk in unprepared. The 10 mistakes we covered today may seem simple, but avoiding them can completely transform your travel experience. From knowing your terminal changes to prepping for security, from weighing your bags to choosing the right lines, these small habits give you control in a place where most people feel rushed, overwhelmed, or lost in the crowd. When you understand how airports function behind the scenes, you start moving differently. You walk with confidence instead of anxiety. You stay ahead of delays instead of reacting to them. You save time, protect your belongings, and keep your trip running smoothly long before you ever reach the boarding gate. These are the quiet advantages smart travelers have, and now you have them too. If this video helped you learn something new, make sure to like the video so more travelers can discover it. And if you want more practical travel guides just like this, tips airlines never explain and airports never warn you about, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We post videos regularly to help you travel smarter, cheaper, and with less stress every single time. Share this video with someone who has a trip coming up soon. A few small changes can make their whole journey easier. Thanks for watching, and safe travels wherever you're headed next.